Welcome to the Ask Coach Mac podcast, where coaches from around the world get their strength and conditioning questions answered.
What's up, guys? McKeefery here. Welcome to episode number 9 of Ask Coach Mac. Thank you so much for joining me today. We have a great question from Ryan, but before we get to that, I want to thank today's sponsor, Iron Grip. Iron Grip has been leading the way in free weight design and construction for over 20 years. I've put their plates, dumbbells, and bars in 3 facilities, including my own garage where my family and I train. Please join me in thanking them for giving back to the strength and conditioning community by supporting things like Ask Coach Mac and the numerous conferences and clinics they're a part of. To learn more, go to www.irongrip.com, follow them on Twitter at iron_grip, or call 1-800-664-4766. All right, here's today's question from Ryan.
Hi, Coach McKeefery. My name is Ryan Wayland, and I'm an intern at Penn State University. And a question I had for you was, how do you develop your own unique coaching style without becoming a parrot or a mimic of your mentors? Thank you for your time.
Ryan, this is a great question, and I appreciate you asking it. I think that it is important as a coach to find your own coaching style. And I think that as you go through, one thing you need to know is it never fully is a destination. It's always a process and a journey in finding what your coaching voice is. I mean, I think back to how I was a year ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, and each and every year I evolve in my voice and how I present myself and to our athletes. I think early on in your career, it is important to take on your coach's coaching style, coaching demeanor, coaching philosophy, so that you allow yourself to learn the more challenging parts of the job, which is the relationship building and the logistics of running a department. So I often counsel our young coaches to fake it till you make it, to really take on that kind of persona, and that kind of bravado and that kind of demeanor with your athletes, with your program, so that you can allow yourself the opportunity to learn those other things. And so doing, I think it's the second part is very important for you to become a principle-based strength coach, not a philosophy-based strength coach. If you've heard me speak, you've heard me talk about this quite a bit. When you're a principle-based strength coach and you identify what truly is important to you as a strength coach for your athletes, rather than just taking on a philosophy, it allows you the opportunity to really learn from pretty much anybody and everybody. I think so many times as philosophy-based strength coaches, it's almost like this religious fervor where we're going to identify with a program at the extent or at the detriment of allowing ourselves the opportunity to see it through different lenses. And we all know in this business, it's not if you get fired or it's when you get fired. You're going to go into lots of different environments. You're going to go into lots of different coaching situations. We're a service-oriented business where we service our administrators, we service our coaches, we service our athletes. And so it's important that we're adaptable. It doesn't mean that you just throw your hands up and say, I'm going to do whatever you want me to do. You need to educate, you need to incorporate your programs how you see fit. But the reality of the situation is that there's just so many variables outside of your control that you have to be able to see things from different people's lenses. There's not always a pure right answer. And so when you're principle-based, you can go in and we can have a conversation about overload with anybody. I can talk to a CrossFitter, I can talk to a powerlifter, I can talk to an Olympic lifter, I can talk to any type of methodology that exists, and we can have a conversation about overload. We don't necessarily have to agree on it, but we can have a conversation about that. And when you do that, you open yourself up to finding more of your own coaching style and being able to be confident in what you believe is important for developing your athletes. I think another thing that will allow you the confidence and the education to develop your own coaching style is obviously education. And so I typically recommend our coaches, as strength coaches, we have to be experts in speed and power and strength and balance and coordination and kinesthetic awareness and skill acquisition, all these types of things, on and on and on, that we have to become an expert in those areas. And, we want to make sure we're educating ourselves and deep diving in each of these areas. So one of the things that I did early on in my career, I still challenge my coaches to do it, I still challenge myself to do it, is to create binders on the various topics of strength and conditioning. So this could be, old school binders is what I did. You can do an Evernote folder, or you can do something along these lines. But what I did was I would take articles. I would, when I got manuals in the mail and things like that from coaches that I'd asked for, I'd take their sections out on speed or agility or nutrition, and I would throw that information into a binder. And when I felt like I had enough information, enough research on a topic, then I would write a paper on that topic using that material. And so if you're a student and you're doing this, you're a graduate student, this is beautiful because it gives you built-in information that's going to be specific to your career that could be done for a class assignment. How many papers you write, how many projects and presentations you give. This is beautiful because you can use this information for that. But if not, you still have an obligation to develop yourself as a coach. And so really deep diving on these topics. Now to this point, I spend a whole year on a topic. Because I've built this base level of knowledge in all these areas, that I'll deep dive on the topic each year to really become an expert on it. And that's what I'll use to try to present on and things along those lines. And so I think you need to fake it till you make it. That allows you the opportunity to develop some of the other skill sets that you're going to need to be a strength coach and sustain a career in this business. I think you need to become principle-based and not philosophy-based, so that you have a genuine curiosity on how to continue to learn about training. And then I think you need to become an expert by creating binders or really deep diving into topics that are strength and conditioning specific, so that you can kind of separate yourself out as an expert in some of these areas. So, Ryan, I hope that answers your question. We'd love to hear what everyone else thinks. Use the hashtag AskCoachMac9 to continue this discussion over on Twitter. I want to encourage everyone else that if you have a question that you would like potentially be featured on the show, to head over to www.askcoachmac.com. There you can ask your question by hitting the record button at the bottom of the page. Thanks so much. I appreciate you. And here's a quote to finish off the day by Friedrich Nietzsche. The individual has always had to struggle to keep from being overwhelmed by the tribe. If you try it, you will be lonely often and sometimes frightened. But no price is too high to pay for the privilege of owning yourself. Take care, guys, and I'll see you in the next episode of Ask Coach Mac. Bye for now.